Scientists have produced a map showing where the world's major food crops should be grown to maximize yield and minimize environmental impact. This would capture large amounts of carbon, increase biodiversity, and cut agricultural use of freshwater to zero. Huge areas of farmland in Europe and India would be restored to natural habitat. The redesign, assuming high input, mechanized farming, would cut the carbon impact of global croplands by 71%, by allowing land to revert to its natural, forested state. This is the equivalent of capturing 20 years' worth of our current net CO2 emissions. Trees capture carbon as they grow, and also enable more carbon to be captured by the soil than when crops are grown in it. The researchers say that croplands would quickly revert back to their natural state, often recovering their original carbon stocks and biodiversity within a few decades. The redesign would eliminate the need for irrigation altogether, by growing crops in places where rainfall provides all the water they need to grow. Agriculture is currently responsible for around 70% of global freshwater use, and this causes drinking water shortages in many drier parts of the world. The researchers used global maps of the current growing areas of 25 major crops, including wheat, barley and soybean, which together account for over 3/4 of croplands worldwide. They developed a mathematical model to look at all possible ways to distribute this cropland across the globe, while maintaining overall production levels for each crop. This allowed them to identify the option with the lowest environmental impact. The study is published today in the journal Nature Communications Earth Environment. In many places, cropland has replaced natural habitat that contained a lot of carbon and biodiversity, and crops don't even grow very well there. Previous studies have identified priority areas for ecological restoration, but this is the first to plot the relocation of agricultural land to maximize long-term environmental benefits without compromising food security. While a complete global relocation of cropland is clearly not a scenario that could currently be put into practice, the scientists say their models highlight places where croplands are currently very unproductive, but have potential to be hotspots for biodiversity and carbon storage. It's currently not realistic to implement this whole redesign. But even if we only relocated a fraction of the world's cropland, focusing on the places that are least efficient for growing crops, the environmental benefits would be tremendous, said Bayer. The study finds that the optimal distribution of croplands will change very little until the end of the century, irrespective of the specific ways in which the climate may change. Areas where environmental footprints would be low, and crop yields high, for the current climate will largely remain optimal in the future, said Professor Andrea Manica at the University of Cambridge, senior author of the paper. The researchers acknowledge that relocating cropland must be done in a way that is acceptable to the people it affects, both economically and socially. While other studies show that if we move towards more plant-based diets we could significantly reduce the environmental impacts of agriculture, the researchers say that in reality diets aren't changing quickly. Their model assumed that diets will not change, and focused on producing the same food as today but in an optimal way. Many of the world's croplands are located in areas where they have a huge environmental footprint, having replaced carbon-rich and biodiversity-rich ecosystems, and are a significant drain on local water resources. These locations were chosen for historical reasons, such as their proximity to human settlements, but the researchers say it is now time to grow food in a more optimal way. Robert M. Bayer, Fengyuan Hua, Philip A. Martin, Andrea Manica, Tim Rademacher. Relocating croplands could drastically reduce the environmental impacts of global food production. Communications Earth Environment, 2022. 3, 1, doi. 10. 1038 per second 43247, 022, 00360, 6 University of Cambridge. Relocating farmland could turn back clock 20 years on carbon emissions, say scientists. Science Daily. https://ift. tt. Jai 1 GJ. Accessed March 10, 2022. Please support my channel to grow by pressing subscribe button and the bell icon. We will notify you technological news. Thank you.